just recently.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about harmony core, and make sure I got my date here. You know, I'm trying to turn what I'm doing with you into a business.
Yes, I know.
And I'm doing my best, considering that I am one of the 3 least organized people ever born. And I was looking at my notes the other day, and I thought, all I need to do is look at these notes to know what kind of bad brain I've got. Okay.
Don't put yourself down.
Oh, it's going to be fine. And again, the people that look at this in 50 years won't even think about the guy that's sitting on this side of the camera, what kind of nut he was, or anything of that sort. So either way, we're going to talk about the harmony core.
All right, this is a mixed chorus. In essence, a singing society.
When did you join?
I guess we would say, but in German, we like to just stick with the German name for it. Is gemischter Chor. It's G-E-M-I-S-C-H there. Gemischter, T-E-R. And another word, Chor, C-H-O-R. Harmony, which is spelled just like in English, except I-E at the end.
Gemischter Chor Harmony.
The established by a constitution. And this is the Germans settled these, established the singing societies wherever a good handful of them landed, you know. In other words, it's bringing part of their homeland with them. And
it's a Verbindung.
Exactly. In German, here in this part of the state, particularly, that is the whole central area here, I think, probably had the most. But at present, we have choruses in Dallas still, in Houston, in Austin, in San Antonio. And since I joined, in 1977 was when I first joined, my father was a member, as long as I could remember, of the Austin Sängerrunde in Austin. Now, actually, the first letter of when the S is the first letter, it sounds more like an English Z. Sängerrunde. When it's at the end of a word like glass, it sounds like glass. Or the end of a syllable, you know, it'll have the sound that we have with in English. But this is perfectly in German. It would have to be spelled with an umlaut, but generally the Sängerrunde is spelled with S-A-E-N-G-E-R. That's Sänger, which means singers, men singers. And Sängerrunde, around a singer. So another R, U-N-D-E. I have a little book that's the history of it, if you're ever interested in listening. It's still an ongoing organization, I'm glad to say, and it took over place that ties in with my family history. The Zingerunde in Austin now owns, has for many years, owned a place called Schultz Garten. Or sometimes it might be written with a D for garden. And that's a very interesting subject to me because my mother grew up on the same block with it. And so I'm sure she had untold memories there. And my her father was a stepson of Mr. Schultz, who bought that property according to his granddaughter. And I have all she wrote and gave to the Austin History Center. I have a copy of it.
When you were participating in the Zingerunde, Mr. Qual?
No, this is just kind of giving a background,
oh, okay.
But not getting into Mr. Core.
Okay.
Here, In other words, I had that in my background.
Okay, and so we're talking about the Austin years.
Yes. So with the Austin, so it was a yearly, at least once a year, I would be at one time or another hearing my dad in concert with all these men up there on the stage. The information that I've been reading that was given to the History Center by the granddaughter of Mr. Schultz is, and she was someone my mother visited. It was a cousin of hers. It's my mother's cousin. After all, the Mrs. Schultz was my mother's grandmother, just as well as the woman writing this. Mm-hmm. It's just Mr. Schultz was not the father of all of them. Mm-hmm. She clearly, this Mrs. Cousy was her name. Very kindly, in 1967, submitted to the History Center and had an interview with Catherine Hart, and then gave all that material to the History Center. So I've been looking at that, and that's kind of interesting too, and you might want to read that to see how she was doing that, because this Mrs. Hart was interested in that particular place, you see, in
Sure.
one of the places. And so anyway...
Did Miss Hart work for the Austin Historical Center, or was she just...
I don't know what her title was exactly, but she was writing for the paper, for the Austin paper. She was a prominent woman in Austin of a prominent family that owned the Calcasieu Lumber Company. She was, her maiden name was Catherine Drake, and she had known my uncle because my Uncle Paul Wilde, because he was working there as a secretary, I think. It had a secretarial course and was working at the Calcasieu Lumber Company, which was owned by the Drake family. I don't know where the name Calcasieu came from, but at any rate,
That's Polish.
it's
Polish
I don't know
or
if I can
Czech?
even spell it without looking it up. It's C-A-L, Calcasieu. That shoe part was S-I-E-U.
Yeah. It sounds either Yugo